Many fire departments in my district point with great pride and with gratitude to the fire trucks, the breathing equipment, the protective clothing, the radios, the other technology they have received through this valuable program. These are small grants, often just $2,500 to maybe $250,000 for a new fire truck, but desperately needed in small communities and rural areas, replacing equipment often more than 40 years old, or new gear to combat new issues such as fires at meth labs in the countryside, or as we call it, the backwoods of northern Minnesota. Fire department needs that equipment, whether to combat a house fire, chemical spill, or fire in the center of small communities. The Fire Grants program goes back to year 2000, predates the horrific events of September 11, was never intended to be a terrorism preparedness program, but the Department of Homeland Security made it one. And in recent years, I've been concerned by reports, and I've met with the small fire departments, didn't receive a grant because they could not show a specific connection to terrorism. You know, our terror in northern Minnesota is fire. Our terror is blizzards, tornadoes, floods. Those are the things that we need, and we need to be prepared for. So there are a lot of organizations that support this legislation. But I just want to mention Pete Mikowski.
Gentleman, 30 seconds additional.
I thank the gentleman. I just want to mention Pete Mikowski, my district staff person in northern Minnesota, who is a volunteer firefighter, who has introduced me to these issues and to these concerns, has brought me together with the volunteer fire departments in my district. And I just want to say the pleasure, the joy, the pride that those volunteer firefighters have in getting this small bit of assistance is overwhelming to me, and I am so pleased that we have in this legislation very clear language that these small firefighting organizations do not have to show that they're combating weapons of mass destruction.
The gentleman from Minnesota's time has expired. The gentleman from Tennessee reserves the balance of his time. The gentleman from Nebraska.
I would yield 30 seconds more to the chairman of the Transportation Committee if he wishes to continue.
Well, I thank the gentleman.
The gentleman is recognized for an additional 30 seconds.
I'm sure that the gentleman has the same experience with small volunteer firefighters who have to hire a grant application writer to fill out forms this thick. That's absurd. I think we change that in this legislation, and we take away this need to show a connection with terrorism. Our terror is fire. That's all we need to be prepared for.
The gentleman from Minnesota yields back the balance of his time.